Welcome back to your video. Alright, got my headphones. So as we get started, I just appreciate all of you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Alright, it's like a boost of energy for the channel, and I really appreciate it, you guys. So as you see before us, and don't get discouraged because you see the tower, the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles out, right? I know you see the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups, but I'm kind of like focused on how the Magician is in the environment, with the focus being like super optimistic. So we'll go ahead and get started, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of something about like a vision or some intuitive inspiration that I received. Welcome back to your video. Alright, got my headphones. So as we get started, I just appreciate all of you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Alright, it's like a boost of energy for the channel, and I really appreciate it, you guys. So as you see before us, and don't get discouraged because you see the tower, the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles out, right? I know you see the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups, but I'm kind of like focused on how the Magician is in the environment, with the focus being like super optimistic. So we'll go ahead and get started, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of something about like a vision or some intuitive inspiration that I received. 7 of Pentacles and the 3 of Swords came out. So there was a reading yesterday, and in having that discussion, it was about what is it? How do they say? Past efforts, reaping rewards, evaluating things, or like in a reevaluation sort of mindset. And some of you could be, whether it's like rebranding or a past relationship, and even a belief system that was kind of like structured, being restructured or rebuilt. Now, I got led down the rabbit hole because something with me and my curiosities. So I wanted to dig deeper into the 7 of Pentacles and the 3 of Swords, because this is an entirely different deck, and it was like hours apart. I was getting ready for your reading today, and those 2 cards kind of resurfaced. So of course, when they came out, when I was shuffling, I stopped and I just pulled off the top of the deck to see what Spirit had to say. Now, South America came up, Costa Rica came up, the 7 Sisters. For some of you guys may be connected to certain star collectives, and then they have like this specific I don't know, like communication or interest in some of you as like star seeds, or just some kind of connection, I'll say that. So when I was looking into these cards, and different locations around the world came up, I mean, and you can say, oh my God, where have you been? Did you go to school? I totally forgot, like the Mayans also had a connection to this region. All right, so it was, hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now. It was, hold on, because I don't know if this is specific to some of you, some ideas that you guys have been having moving forward. A lot of you guys may have been talking about inheritances, and then like foreign affairs, traveling abroad. Maybe your partner is going to be from another country or something like that. And I want to find it because it was a, Olivia, would you please not? Okay, let's see here. I want to find it for you. Here we go. Oh, what is this? Okay, so they said, nope, you ain't gonna find it right here. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna give up. But it was a location. Oh, wait. Okay, anyway, so do your own research. I can't even find it. And maybe it was just to spark the inspiration, because some of you, there could be travel, something that you're manifesting. And I noticed that this environment or this area that the magician is in also looks like some ancient, you know, place inside of a canyon or something like that, so that there's room to grow. There may be a sense of happiness if you've taken a lot of losses or have like bad experiences. This ain't giving what it's supposed to give type of energy. I just wanted to point that out there, where there's like a moving away from the code or a belief system to find your collective, or know that you can go back if you want to, or look inside of yourself. So we'll move forward beyond that. But I thought that was just interesting with specifically the Seven of Pentacles. And notice that in this particular deck, these two do got a little Latino in them or whatever. Yeah, whatever. So very diverse. I know some of y'all think I'm crazy, but hear me out, right? It started with a V. It was like somewhere. It was a V and a P. And I feel like it was not far from Costa Rica, or it was in South America, and it was like a specific mysterious place that somebody wrote a book about. And it could be significant for some of you guys. I ain't going to hold you. So look into that, because that place could even be like one of your past lives, or something that your ancestors are trying to get you to see, get you back to, tell you about. And then, like I said, it would have been just one of my random, you know, channels, right? But the Mayans, you know, and how their calendar stopped in Pisces, and now we're in Aquarius. I always wondered, like, who was going to write the new calendar? Like, where's the new wave of what people are supposed to do? I mean, even with the Christians, they just got tired and said, we're gonna say we're in the age of grace, because ain't nobody really came back to put all of them changes that they've incorporated into the religion into place. Like, ain't no Messiah came back to tell them that they're in the age of grace and they can kind of let up on some of the rules. I was like, boy. Anyway, so it could be significant. Maybe we'll tap back into it at another time, and I ain't trying to get beat up. All right. So now, the reason why, you know, the focus could be with the Two of Wands, which is like very optimistic, seeing the world as your oyster, but then looking at this damn Three of Swords, because someone could be overcoming financial difficulties with the Five of Pentacles, and then finding the optimism in career matters or a relationship and working towards some sort of recovery. Okay, it can also signify releasing pain and embracing a positive mindset, letting go of negative emotions. The card can also remind you to address any emotional or mental blocks that have been affecting your financial situation, and support if needed. I love that. Now, for some of you, if there are surgeries, I know that the Queen of Cups would represent some female reproductive areas, and I would have hated for anybody to have had any, you know, grievances in that area due to, you know, infidelities with a partner that may have been a little bit more open-minded than you thought. And or there is like this post-mortem sort of thing where the hormones could have changed. Calcification has been coming up. So the Five of Pentacles, that could indicate poor health. This could be to the third eye. This could be to the grail. So for some of us, yay, think about that, because you got 77 again. You got the Seven of Pentacles, you got the Seven of Cups, you got the Magician. So it's like the one, right? And then the Trinity with the heart. Oh my gosh. And then, so it's being optimistic, like, I really know that you're it, but this person has to find the power within themselves, right? So I appreciate that. And I was like, well, in all of the cards, why would the Ten of Cups be your approach, right? And it talks about emotional fulfillment, harmony, and happiness. It encourages people to examine their beliefs and behaviors and to make things that will bring them closer to these goals. So that's why the optimism and overcoming whatever these setbacks were are very important. And for those of you where this is some sort of surgery, since we are looking at the Tower card, if it's not some unexpected situation or instability, it could point to like downloads or some sort of Kundalini awakening or whatnot, right? So if that's the case, then this would be like spiritual lobotomy or whatever. And not trying to call you, you know, off, because I looked into lobotomies and it said, oh, this is a dangerous, taboo process for where people get their brains worked on because they ain't all there. And that's like a bullshit ass way to explain it. But I mean, the magician could sometimes struggle with focusing, or has issues like ADD or hyperactivity, which is why, you know, the magician is like sometimes non-committal, and like the food card, kind of like the jack of all, master of none. And really these these aces are being given, you know, to try to like help someone who is special, but that gift came with some sort of curse. You know what I mean? You digging what I'm putting down? So with the Two of Wands up there, it made me think about the Page of Wands and even the Knight of Wands. I know they kind of struggle with some of those same issues. So for some of us, watching your intake, you know what I mean? Whether it's like sexually, emotionally, drinking, eating, addictions, drugs, whatever the case may be, just be mindful of the intake, and the seeds that you're planting, okay? The seeds that you're planting as far as like what you're manifesting into life, the seeds that you're planting as far as to what you're telling your children or what you're telling yourself or your belief system, because the Queen of Cups is here, could be manifesting from her subconscious. And if it's a bunch of illusions, just imagine like you manifesting shit that don't even like have to be manifested. Like for instance, if I had hyperactivity, anxiety, depression, or some other things, and I was doing too much reflecting to where I overanalyzed this reflecting, became emotionally overwhelmed, and now these overwhelming emotions are starting to turn into heartbreak and pain. And then I start like the what actually happened is going from the Seven of Pentacles, where I'm just like reviewing the facts, into this. Now I'm bending this, you know what I'm saying? I'm bending this visualization to fit my emotions. So now I'm more of a victim. They were more gruesome than they were. They were more abrasive. Like I'm just laying it on thick. All the while, this isn't affecting that person. It's affecting you, because the more you say they did is the more you see that they've done to you. And that continues to make you feel sometimes like a victim, which makes it hurt more. And then it becomes overwhelming. And not to mention could be manifested into your life for some of you in work or business and or your residence. And it's like the Tower talks about breakups, unexpected, you know, illnesses. And I don't like that crossing the Queen of Cups, because I just finished talking about, you know, the partners that she may have chosen throughout her life and how stress could induce things that have been sleeping in the system dormant for a long time. Gotta be careful. All right. Now, besides that, you know, if you're still here, a fortunate marriage came up, because you got the Queen of Cups, the King of Cups, and options. Someone may have manifested a few things where, you know, we may have started with some reviewing, and we maybe opened the heart to some sort of activation. And within the heart, they say there are your past life gifts and a lot of information tools, like everything you need. They said everything we need. There's, and you know, Abraham Hicks, I was talking about her the other day. I ain't got cussed out yet, so I don't think nobody told her what I said. But they said the keys are in the heart or something like that. And then if you open it, you know, you got past life gifts. You remember things, all the knowledge and everything that you've mastered any other lifetime, the notes that you left for yourself, the notes that the Seven Sisters or the Mayans or whoever your cousins is in Costa Rica, all of that stuff is there, right? The subconscious, access to it, because they say that's where we're manifesting from. All of that could be what some of you have here, which is telling me a story of possibly like a full reading, like your careers and finances. And then also you coincidentally may be having this long-term issue in your love life, or with this one particular person, or with people that kind of just like have the same like similarities. These are the things that are being manifested. Okay. And if it's a guy that I'm speaking with, I love how in this deck, it's the Lady in the Cup. I have another deck where it's just like somebody and you can't see their face really clear. So this is kind of like for business owners, those of you who have had spent some time like away from relationships, because maybe you know who exactly your soulmate is, but y'all ain't together or whatever, there's been some sort of separation. It's like you've been through the game playing, you've taken the risk, you are, you know, a very creative person, because this little dragon here either talks about a very long time ago or somebody with a very creative mind. Then you have these plateaus and all that kind of stuff, like where he is. So some of you, it's like I'm manifesting my location, I'm manifesting what comes into my life, I manifested some stuff that is no longer in my life, and so on and so forth. Because here's the harvest, here's more than enough, here's like some sort of gift or some sort of present, which I feel like comes from source. Both of them have cups, but this is like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And where does the present come from? Or is it present as in time? Because the Seven of Pentacles also talks about time. It does. And that is the situation. So if I have the Magician and then the review or time, and what's crossing it could be the heart or some sense of like a surgery of some sort, where a surgery would indicate something is being removed. And for some of you, something could be being removed from your heart, one of the chakras, the subconscious, like something within your body from some celestial beings that could help you, but so that you don't have to repeat it, right? Because just imagine you go through a situation. I'm licensed to do hypnotherapy, and just say that we got into a deep theta state, source was able to, or as Miss Cannon would say, the SC, and I say the CC, because I always call it the command center, but she called it the SC, and I don't know, I never asked, or like I can't remember if that meant the subconscious or source conscious or whatever. But you get somebody in that state where what's already in there could do its thing without the ego being a party pooper. They fix something, but then the person puts themselves in the same environment to have the same thoughts, and over time creates the same illnesses. And it's like, how do we fix that? Well, the glass ceiling has to break, and understanding has to be made. Like, that's what we work on when it comes to like any sort of therapy. If any of you are coaches or healers, because the Queen of Cups is a healer, and the King of Cups, what's crowning you is like making some sort of business or career out of it, but it's like, I ain't got no money, and most sick people or, you know, disadvantaged motherfuckers is broke. So it's like, where does it come from? I don't see non-profit institution here. So some of us may have big dreams with this Two of Wands, but maybe getting into a market that takes a lot of time, and I don't think the Pentacles going to be as big as you thought, right? So it's like, maybe we got to consider some other things, which is why the Seven of Cups is here, and we'll get to that. But my point was, just imagine having all of that stuff cleared out of you, and then going back to your same patterns, and then having the same thoughts that produce the same chemicals that create the same illnesses. So we got to change our perspectives. I think that's important. Let's see here. Boo, boo, boo. Now, if there were any people that were living together, because that came up too, where it was like blended families living together, the Five of Pentacles could be someone leaving home. And what's crazy is the dude in the Five of Pentacles looks like the dude in the Nine of Wands, who was fed up, but it was persevering is why he all toe up. Now, even though this is the look of despair, it could also be perseverance. Perseverance looks like despair too from the outside looking in, right? And the lady seems like maybe she works there, and she just found him outside, or he just, you know, he couldn't even make it in the door all the way before she was greeting him. So it's like we expected more out of life, and instead of being able to help others and being abundant and all what we thought, we're receiving some sort of help in a time where we really needed it. And that should be worth something, especially if there's been instability. And I was doing a natal chart this morning where some people just inherited from the stars and the moons, child, and the transits, issues with work, issues with home life, issues with relationships. And I was like, it just makes me, maybe this could help you. it really helped me to kind of take a moment, right? Because some of you, we had readings about being protected. So it's like, all right, all gloves is off. Gabrielle, close your fucking eyes and stop writing down in that fucking book. And Metatron, turn around, and God itself, just chill, right? Because you could be here like giving clear-cut instructions in person, but you ain't. So everybody chill and sit back. And then you just really give yourself a moment to feel how you really feel and think how you really think, to see who you really are. See if you can even do that, because if they got, and I'm telling you, I wish I can. Child, don't make me pull this stuff up, because I'm going to be doing spreads and PDF slideshows and all kind of shit for y'all. But in doing the natal chart, I saw, you know, you get to see things like Cancer ascending sign and Aquarius moon and Mercury in the 5th house, or the trines and the sextiles and the squares, right? And I'm just really moving through the information, and it's like, yeah, this person is gonna have a hard time with this, and this person is gonna struggle with employment, 1, because they don't want no boss, and 2, because they got this other thing going on where they just gonna always have fear of being fired or homeless or something. So that's gonna manifest, right? And then they were born with it. So it's not even like, oh, something's wrong with me. It ain't the drugs you took, the food you ate, the people who raised you. It's not your religious group. It ain't any of that. It's you were born. And let's just say this planet was squaring that planet, you know, on a hot summer day. And because of that, you born and you just go through these motions that belong to motherfucking constellations. After considering that, and I think this isn't the first time I've considered it, but I'm just reiterating it, I see why there are other religions or certain groups that really, really, really try to help human beings break away from patterns, even if there's some taboo. And yes, I'm referring to the Thelema, which have a connection with some things that people frown upon. But just hear me out. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you inherited where you are sometimes from wherever you were born. So whatever your parents had going on, that's automatically going to affect you, right? And then whatever your country is going through, that affects you. And in America, I mean, it was only, you had to look like one group of people to really be hitting on shit. And then that didn't even make no difference if you were a female, because they was stealing white women from Europe to mass rape and, mass impregnate the chicks that they flooded from Europe to Virginia. So they brought the same amount of European women into America into Virginia, about the same number of Africans. And that's why the feminist movement and the African Americans have been kind of like fighting the same fight, which they don't know that, right? Some of them don't. But yeah, it was like hundreds of thousands of white women they took from Europe and came here and just had them having babies, just boom, 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 boom. So some people are actually Caucasian, and some people is just like actual Europeans. It wasn't just like okay. Anyways, you see what I'm saying? So when you inherit all of these things from your environment, from your biological markup, and then from something like, oh, well, my natal chart said I'll probably lose a parent, and then you realize you do. And I'm talking about, this happens to people, and it's not like they read these things when they're 7 and manifest it into their lives. I'm talking about 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 60-year-olds coming to get a natal chart for the first time and seeing things in this natal chart that actually transpired through their lives, and they sitting there with their jaw dropped. What, isn't that like, what the fuck? So, or is it just my Aquarian energy that's like not really feeling that? Because it says that we're just lab rats. So anyway, and I'm sure you're saying, I ain't no motherfucking lab rat, right? And it's something in your chart that would tell me that you'd say some shit like that. See what I mean? So moving forward, I just thought that was interesting. And because we're talking about belief systems and things that could be limiting you or us, right? Because I don't like to say you. Just consider those things. Now, the Magician. I ain't going to hold you. The Magician and the environment tells me something about manifestation. It also talks about Mercury, what it's doing, or just communication. when the Magician is in the environment and the hopes and fears is the Seven of Cups, I don't think anything is as it seems. Okay? Because it could be me right now, as the Magician uses tricks to raise awareness about the environmental issues and inspire new ways of thinking and sustainability. It may be that releases this curse, this grip around your heart so that you could get to your happy ending, or just reprogram yourself from this loop of instability and poverty. Because, I mean, I believe in a higher power and my higher self. But, like I said, you know, the homie ain't pulled up and helped, you know what I'm saying? So, even then, I'll be like, God, if you do exist, I respect that, but you ain't pulled up yet, and unless Gabriel come in the night like he did with Mary, how am I supposed to know these people ain't lying? You know what I mean? So maybe you'll know in your heart, or if some of you spend some time reflecting, maybe you've had some divine intervention or some near-death situations, and you've seen the light or whatnot, because he looking to the light over there with the star and the sun. And so there's that. But yeah, if this is a female, because the King of Cups is usually not the one playing games. If the King of Cups is playing games, then he would probably come through as the Knight of Cups. But both of them are pretty cool people, and in the wrong crowd or in the wrong relationship would take the short end of the stick. However, if this Magician is the Queen of Cups, it talks about climate change and the environment, where we have the Tower, which could talk about storms. The Seven of Cups could talk about clouds. This could be telling us that for some regions, they're going through these heat waves and stuff like that. So you may start noticing that they come back with the chemtrail shit. And for some of us, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen the chemtrail strips all summer. In California, that is something, because I normally see them by the beach. Like if it's too many good days at the beach, you actually can see the plane spraying the shit in the middle of the day, and then a day or two later it's gray morning. You know what I mean? So for some of you, it has something to do with environmental issues like that. And since we are talking about the Seven Sisters, and some of you guys are kind of like off track from whatever your mission is, totally being consumed by everyday life issues, they're here to remind you that some of you guys are here to impact humans, children, learn about the planet, do what you can to help. Communicating is your tool to capture attention and share messages in a fun way for some of you guys. And remember, I said the wands and sometimes the Magician, they have this childlike energy, or just this not so seriousness about them, because it's just like the class clown. They only act out because they don't get it. They learn differently. You know what I'm saying? And then they got this hyperactivity. So they're usually jokers or class clowns because they don't get what the fuck going on in the class no goddamn way. But they turn out to be some of the best entertainers. What is it? Jamie Foxx, who is it? Jim Carrey, T-Pain, so many people that have shared issues that they had. Even Usher, that have other magnificent capacities that, you know, everyday civilized life just wasn't big enough for them. And maybe that's you too. All right. So hopes and fears. You got the Seven of Cups. And like I said, some of you guys, it's options, choices, and a little bit of confusion. And it talks about cloudiness. If, like I said, look to the weather in your area, and maybe you'll notice some changes. Or some of you guys maybe look at the sky a lot and see birds. Or I've seen, now don't think that I'm crazy, right? Because I'm one of the most practical spiritual beings that I know. That's like something that I take pride in, that I can go down the rabbit hole with you, but at the same time, I'm going to make sure we get out of it, because my common sense is up to par and my IQ is like 128. Now, the Seven of Cups and hopes and fears, right? So if you do see some images and stuff, pay attention to it. I've seen feathers. I saw an X. I see X's all the time. And then sometimes I've seen them when I'm going through personal issues, and I've seen them when they start that chemtrail shit. So some of y'all, it's part of y'all, I don't know, it's going to help you in some kind of way. But the fear of missing out on better options by committing to a single path. Some people are having issues with that. Now, as this person is doing some reflecting because they've taken losses that they were very optimistic about, and they do have the ability to do a whole bunch of shit, but ain't mastered nothing. Mastery is on some of you guys' minds, but it's like, I don't like that. What if I'm missing out on other stuff? Because really, other than a good businessman that probably works for somebody else, what does the King of Cups master? Himself? His emotions? Yep. Contentment. And sometimes, you know, an immature person, or it's just a different perspective, sometimes contentment could look like settling. Now, she done turned her back on him, so maybe somebody didn't want to settle because you ain't stable, and I ain't settling, and I got options. But then you walk head first into the Magician, and that's what the fuck you get, because you had some decent ass King of Cups, and that wasn't good enough, right? So just be mindful of that. And I take that back. That is not what you get. But that is what you're going to get for some of y'all, because it's right here on this table. Dreaming isn't enough. So if you spend more time dreaming than you actually do doing shit, stop that. I mean, I can't tell you what to do. You think you some mystical, magical magician and got it all figured out. But if you do more dreaming and reflecting than you do actually moving, then it ain't the transits or no curse or no shit that got you broke. It's like yourself, right? So we don't want to do that, especially when your livelihood, your home, and living conditions are a factor. The Seven of Cups also asks you to stretch yourself greater. There's more. If you stretch yourself greater, more fears will be there. Where fears exist, there is always an opportunity for growth. All right, so keep that in mind. Powerful projections of our hopes and fears can temporarily destabilize us. And that's what this reflective thing is. Some of us are being slowed down to be shown some things. And so that's also a thing. Now, she got her back turned on him. And this is where that Casanova shit come in at. For those of you that are here and it's been a relationship, but you just been sitting with us because anything I'm saying is kind of interesting. The Seven of Cups with this lady right there and this man right there sometimes talks about the promises, okay? The promises that have been made and how that unfolds. They appear in a cloud and they're conjured in the air to kind of like play on his hopes and fears. And that's crazy because it's literally in the hopes and fears. So the chalices contain usually a castle, a pile of previously glittering jewelry, a laurel wreath of victory, a dragon seemingly poised to attack, a snake, and a young man's head. Or I thought in this picture it was a girl, but maybe it's a dude with long hair. The central chalice on the top row contains a veiled figure. Okay, that's what I was missing. Because remember I said in my other deck you couldn't see the face. But anyway, it's a veiled figure with outstretched arms encircled by a glowing red aura. Perhaps this is a projection of the man himself and his uncertainty about who or what he will become. I think that that's a strong message for someone, because it was my other deck that I had this thought while I was doing a reading, but I didn't say it. It was just I thought it and I saw it and I said I'm going to put it in my back pocket, because this particular situation is like written out. But in the other cards, I wasn't looking at the little guidebook or whatnot. And it was just kind of like common sense, where if the man is looking in the mirror, but he can't see a face, it's like somebody doing visualization or mirror magic, and they having a hard time with actually seeing it. And then I just finished talking about, you know, how Mercury, hyperactivity, ADD, ADHD, all that. I already talked about how that could affect someone with the inability to focus. It could even be your camera lens. You're a content creator wondering why you ain't taking off, and it's because you got poor graphics, the focus is bad. And I'm not saying this to be judged, because I have seen people flipping cards in the dark on the floor in the closet with thousands of views. So it's like, don't be counting nobody's pockets. It'll work for whoever it works for, how it works for. But she's about beauty, right? And so for some of you, if it's like if you're judging yourself, and you can't visualize this success because you half-ass see you as being successful because you ain't good enough, and you dealing with subconscious issues and You got control freak issues, and you be having outbursts and sometimes destructive and violent with all this heartache and pain. And then you sit and take time to reflect, and you realize that all of this is taking a toll on your health and your mind and your heart. So there's that. Now, another thing that was crazy, what does the cross have to do with the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups? I think that is the lie. Because the tower is the glass ceiling that's going to break. The confusion. And if you say, well, where you get that from? I know that Christ is sometimes connected with the heart and the Five of Pentacles, and they're crossing each other with the Magician. And then I got Cancer and Scorpio with this tower. So we're going to talk about that later. I'll figure that out, and we'll talk about that. Moving to the tower. The tower as an outcome. Okay, and or the advice. It's a total collapse. Feeling overwhelmed like this Ten of Cups, like everything is crashing down around you. But once the dust settles, you have entirely everything you need. So the dust settles. You have everything you need. The Two of Wands. You're setting out. Your happy ending. And then you're going to reflect on how you was tripping. Okay. It also talks about a sign of change. There could be a new person coming in or a past person seeing their way out. Ooh, okay. The tower can indicate that deep change is on its way, and you need to go with the flow emotionally. And I feel like this is a clearing out of your conscious and your subconscious mind. And if you do that, then baby, you got the glow like the last dragon, and you're gonna be manifesting left and right exactly what it is that you want, and no longer feeling like things are outside of your control. I think that that's super cool, and I hope that it helps.